Everyone stared when Amira entered the school gates. Her skin was dark. Too dark, they said. Her clothes were clean but simple, too simple for this rich school. And her eyes? They were strong, too strong for a poor girl. The guards at the gate looked confused. The students whispered. The teachers raised their eyebrows. No one said welcome. No one smiled, but Amira didn't stop. She held her small school bag close and walked slowly across the big school ground. This was her first day at Crescent Heights High School, one of the best schools in the city. Only rich children studied here. Their parents were doctors, lawyers, politicians. They came in big black cars. They wore designer uniforms and expensive shoes. Amira came by bus. She wore a second-hand uniform, and her shoes had small scratches, the kind you get from walking. Too far for too many years. The first laugh, she entered Class 10B. It was quiet at first. Then someone laughed. It was a boy sitting in the back row, tall, handsome, wearing a silver watch. His name was Zayan. His father owned 3 factories. He was the most popular boy in school. "Wrong class," he said loudly. The class laughed. "A maid doesn't belong here." Amira paused. She looked at him, but she didn't speak. She walked to the empty seat in front. The laughter stopped. Her silence was strange. It made people uncomfortable. The skin. They mocked Amira had lived her whole life hearing the same words. Too dark. Not beautiful. Poor girl's daughter. Stay in your place. Even when she got the scholarship, full tuition, free books, and a school uniform, people looked at her like it was a mistake. But she had worked hard. Top marks in every subject. Best student in her old school. She passed the test that even rich kids failed. But none of that mattered here. Here, skin came first. Money came second. Talent came last. The first test. The English teacher entered. He saw Amira and frowned. "You are new?" he asked. Amira nodded. "What's your name?" "Amira Hassan." He looked at the list. "Sit and open your book." The lesson started. The teacher asked Zayan to read the first page. He read, loudly, confidently. Then he looked at Amira. "Your turn," the teacher said. Amira stood up. Her hands were shaking a little, but her voice was clear. She read with perfect grammar, no mistakes, and full expression. The class went silent. Even the teacher raised his head. He didn't expect that. But Zayan rolled his eyes, memorized it. "Already?" he said. "No one speaks like that in real life." The class laughed again, but this time it felt forced. Some of them were confused. How could this girl, this dark-skinned girl, speak better English than them? Lunch break. During lunch, Amira sat alone under a tree. She took out a simple lunch, bread and boiled egg. The others had sandwiches, pizza, and juice boxes. No one sat near her. A group of girls walked by, whispering and laughing. "She smells like the street," one said. Zayan walked up with his phone. He pretended to film her. "Say something, Miss Dictionary. Let the internet see how smart you are." Amira didn't move. She simply looked up at him. Her eyes were calm, but behind them, something was burning. Zayan looked annoyed. He walked away. That night, Amira wrote in her small notebook, "They see my skin, but one day they will hear my voice, and they will not laugh." The cleaner's daughter days passed. The bullying continued. But Amira stayed quiet. She answered every question in class. She topped the weekly tests. She even helped a boy solve his math problem when the teacher left. But the teasing didn't stop. One afternoon, a boy from the class saw her at a small street near the school. She was wearing a different dress, old and faded. She was cleaning the floor of a small shop. That night, the video went viral in school groups. "Crescent Heights star student is a cleaner's daughter," it said. The next morning, Amira entered the class as usual. Heads turned. Some stared. Others giggled. Zayan stood up. "Tell us, do you clean better than you study, or the other way around?" Even the teacher looked down, silent. Amira looked at Zayan. Then she looked at the class. "No work is small," she said softly. "But mocking others, that's the lowest kind of work." The class froze. No one expected her to speak. She opened her notebook and began writing. "The fire inside that night," her mother cried. "I wish I could give you a better life," she said. Amira hugged her. "You already gave me something better," she said. "You gave me strength." Later that night, Amira watched a video on her old phone. It was about a female lawyer who fought for poor women in court. Her eyes lit up. That night, she wrote again, "I will wear the robe one day, not for revenge, but for justice." Amira was cleaning the shop floor again. Same dusty street, same cracked tiles, same broom, but this time, someone was watching. From across the road, a man in black stood silently. He held a folder in his hand. He didn't speak. He only stared. Amira looked up and noticed him. Their eyes met for a second. He nodded once and walked away. She didn't know who he was. She didn't know that this moment would change everything. Back to school. Back to shame. The next morning at school was worse than usual. Zayan had printed Amira's photo from the video, the one where she was cleaning. He passed it around. "The class. This is our future lawyer," he joked. "She can clean the judge's chair." Everyone laughed. The teacher walked in and saw the photo. But he said nothing, just told them to open their books. Amira stayed quiet, but her hands were tight into fists under the desk. An invitation in her bag later that day, when she opened her school bag. Something was inside. Sealed white envelope. It had no name, no stamp, just one line on the front. "Courage deserves knowledge." Inside was a letter. "Dear Amira, I saw your silence. I saw your strength. I see the fire in your eyes. If you want to fight for justice, come to this address after 5 p.m. today." Advocate Adil, her hands were shaking. Who put this in her bag? Was it real? Was it safe? She looked around. No one was watching. She folded the paper and hid it deep in her pocket. The decision. That evening, her mother saw the letter. "Are you sure it's not a trick?" she asked. Amira nodded slowly. "If it is, I'll walk away. But if it's real, maybe it's my chance." Her mother looked into her eyes. She saw something she hadn't seen before. Not just sadness, not just pain. She saw purpose. "Go," her mother said, "but come back with your head high." The Office of Justice, the address led to a small but clean building near the city, court. It had no big signs, no expensive furniture. But the books on the shelf were heavy. Books of law, of truth, of justice. A tall man in his 50s stood near the window. He turned as she entered. "Welcome, Amira," he said. "I've been waiting." His name was Advocate Adil, a senior lawyer known for fighting free cases for poor people. He had seen Amira at school, seen the fire, the pain, the control. "You don't cry when they mock you," he said. "You don't fight back with anger. That is power, real power." Amira listened, unsure what to say. "You want to be a lawyer?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Then come here every evening. I'll teach you. Not just books, but the courtroom, the real world." Her eyes filled with tears. The secret begins. From that day, her life changed. Every evening after cleaning the shop, she went to Advocate Adil's office. He taught her about basic rights. He gave her books, heavy ones. He asked her tough questions, and she answered, every single one. Her English got better, her voice grew stronger, and slowly her eyes stopped showing pain, only purpose. But no one at school knew. To them, she was still the poor girl, still the maid's daughter. The day they called her servant one day during lunch break, the cleaner didn't show up. The hallway was dirty. Spilled juice, muddy shoe prints. A teacher walked by. "Someone clean this up," he shouted. Zayan turned to Amira. "Go on," he said. "This is your job, isn't it?" She didn't move. He held out a mop. "Don't be shy," he said. "Your mother must have taught you." Amira looked at the mop. Then she looked at him. She took the mop and cleaned the floor. The class was silent. She cleaned it calmly, not like a servant, but like a queen cleaning her own path. When she finished, she handed the mop back and she said one line. "You'll remember this day, Zayan, when I stand in court and you stand on trial." Then she walked away. Ending hook for next episode that night, Advocate Adil gave her a test paper, a university entrance test for junior legal training. "You think I can pass this?" she asked. He smiled. "You won't just pass it, Amira. You'll own it." But Zayan had heard something. He had seen the letter and he was planning something cruel. The rain was heavy that night. Lightning flashed across the sky. But Amira was not afraid. She stood outside Advocate Adil's office, her books held tight in her arms. Wet from head to toe, but her eyes were full of light. Inside the office, candles burned. The power was out, but the lessons would go on. Adil looked at her with quiet pride. "No storm can stop her," he thought. "She's already stronger than most lawyers I know." The offer, he placed a new book in front of her. Constitutional. Rights, simple laws for real people. "You've been learning fast," he said. "But now it's time to take a real step." He gave her an envelope. Inside was an application form for a junior law training program. "I know someone in the legal board," he said. "They'll accept you, but only if you pass this test." Amira stared at the form. A dream she never dared to dream was now real. She looked up. "I'll do it," she whispered. Adil smiled. "I know. The snake finds out the next day at school. Something strange happened. Zayan was quiet. Too quiet. He watched Amira more than usual, followed her in the hallways, even tried to peek inside her bag. Then, during lunch break, he saw it. A book. Basic Law and Human Rights. He grabbed it from her desk. "What's this?" he shouted. "Planning to sue me, maid?" Students gathered. Amira stood up, walked over, and calmly took her book back. "I'm studying," she said. Zayan laughed loud. "Studying to clean better?" Then he looked at the cover again, and his smile faded. This wasn't an ordinary school book. It was legal. Something clicked in his mind. He felt a strange chill. What was she planning? The burn that evening? Amira couldn't find her book. Or her notes. Or her test form. She searched every corner of the class. Then Zayan came in, holding a lighter. Behind him, her papers. And one by one, he set them on fire. "You think you're one of us?" he hissed. "You don't belong here, and you never will." Amira ran to stop him. Too late. The pages turned to ash. The class gasped, but no one moved. No one helped. Zayan threw the lighter on the floor and walked away. The lowest point that night, Amira sat on the floor of her home, broken. Her mother came in quietly, sat beside her, and wiped her tears. "I saw your books. Gone." Amira nodded. "I can't do it, Ami," she whispered. "They'll always see me as nothing." Her mother took her face in her hands. "You're not nothing," she said softly. "You're everything I wanted to be but couldn't. You have a chance. You must. Fight, not for revenge, but for your right." Then she gave her something wrapped in cloth. Inside was an old pen, her father's. "He wanted to become a lawyer, too," she said. but he died cleaning floors of courtrooms. Now, you carry his dream. Amira held the pen close to her. Heart and the fire inside her returned. Back to the mentor, she went to advocate Adil the next day with nothing in her hands but that pen. I lost the books, she said. I lost the notes. Adil nodded. You still have your mind. He placed a fresh test form in front of her. You have 7 days. 7 days of fire. Those 7 days were not normal. Amira barely slept. She read everything twice, sometimes 3 times. She practiced speeches in front of a cracked mirror. She wrote down laws on the back of shopping receipts. Every night, she studied until her eyes burned. And every morning, she came to school like nothing happened. Zayan watched her, confused. Why was she still calm? Why hadn't she cried? Why did she still look like she was winning? Test day. The hall was small but full. Students from across the city sat there holding pens, nervous, excited. Amira took her seat. She looked around. She didn't have fancy clothes. No rich father waiting outside. No tutor beside her. But she had something no one else had. Pain, purpose, patience. The test began. She wrote with her father's pen. Her answers flowed like water, clear, strong, honest. The police officer stood at the door. Amira froze. Her mother stepped forward, voice shaking. Yes, this is our home. What's the problem? The officer looked at Amira. There's been a complaint from Crescent Heights School. Complaint? Her mother asked. About what? She was found with stolen documents. The officer said. Legal papers. Confidential. Amira's heart dropped. She couldn't speak. She had never stolen anything. Not a pencil. Not even a paper. But now, someone was accusing her of a crime. The trap-at. The police station, she sat in a cold chair. People passed by, staring. Whispers filled the air. She's just a maid's daughter. Probably did it. She kept her head down. A senior officer came in and placed some files on the table. Do you know what these are? He asked. Amira looked. They were fake copies of her law entrance form, scribbled with wrong information. I never wrote these, she said quickly. I didn't submit. This, the officer looked at her closely. Then why was it found in your bag? Her eyes widened. My bag? That's when she knew. It was Zayan. He had done it. He hadn't just burned her books. He had set a trap. The silence before the storm. They let her go home that night. No arrest, no proof. But her name was now in a file, her dreams hanging by. A thread. Her mother made her warm tea, but Amira didn't touch it. She stared at the wall. Hours passed. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. Only one sentence echoed in her mind. They will never let you rise. The mentor returns. Next morning, she didn't go to school. She went straight to Advocate Adil's office. He was on a call when she entered. He turned and saw her. Pale, tired, silent. He ended the call and stood up. She slowly handed him the fake documents. They said I stole them, she whispered. My name is in the police file now. Adil didn't say a word for a long time. Then finally he spoke. I believe you. Those 3 words broke something inside her. Tears finally came. Silent, heavy tears. Adil placed a hand on her shoulder. They're scared of you, Amira. That's why they're attacking. She looked up. I don't want revenge, she said. I just want truth. And you'll get it, Adil replied. But we will not fight with fire. We'll fight with facts. The legal pushback Adil filed a complaint to the school board. He requested CCTV footage. He spoke to the school legal officer, and something shocking happened. The footage showed Zayan entering the staff room. It showed him near Amira's bag. It showed everything. He was caught. But the school didn't want trouble. Zayan's father was a donor, a rich man, powerful. The school called a deal quietly. We'll handle it internally, they said. No need for court. Adil smiled. I'm not going to court. She is. Her first step into court it was a small room. A quiet hearing, no media, no crowd, but Amira entered like a storm, wearing simple clothes, holding her father's pen. Eyes strong. Zayan sat across her, nervous for the first time. Amira stood, hands shaking slightly. She read her statement clearly, one word at a time. I was mocked for my skin, bullied for my background, and falsely blamed for a crime I didn't commit. All I ever wanted was to study, but someone didn't want me to rise. I will not stay silent, because silence helps the bully, not the victim. The room was silent. The judge read the evidence, then made the decision. Zayan is guilty of false accusation. The case is closed. The girl is free. But the war wasn't over. That evening, news spread across the school. Amira won the case. Zayan is suspended. She stood in court like a real lawyer. Some students were shocked. Some teachers were proud. Others, jealous. But Zayan wasn't finished. His father was furious. No girl from the slums will ruin my son's name, he said, and behind closed doors, a bigger plan was being made. The handcuffs clicked. Amira stood still, her wrists cold and tight. Two strange men dragged her from her home. Her mother screamed, running after them barefoot. But they didn't stop. The neighbors watched. Some whispered, some filmed on their phones. Why are they arresting her? She's just a student. Didn't she win a case last week? But no one came forward to help. The streets that once ignored her now stared like she was a criminal. The fake charges at the station. A new file was placed before her. It said, fraudulent documents, false admission, identity lies. Amira was shocked. This is not true, she shouted. I passed my test. I studied for weeks. Ask Advocate Adil. But the officer didn't care. He simply said, someone reported you, a respected businessman. Says you faked everything to enter the law program. Zayan's father, she knew it, but had no proof yet. They kept her locked for 6 hours. No water, no answers. Then just before sunset, a voice came from outside. Let her go, or charge me too. It was Advocate Adil. The rescue Adil entered the station with his own file in hand. He opened it on the officer's desk. Inside were her real test, paper, her result from the board, proof of her identity, CCTV from the night of the test drop-off. All clean, all legal. He turned to the officers. You arrested a girl without checking facts. You believed power over truth. Now you will. Answer to the bar council. The room went silent. Amira was released in 10 minutes. No apology, but her hands were free, and so was her voice. The press arrives. The next morning, it was all over the news. Poor girl, falsely accused after beating rich bully in court. Top. Lawyer mentors slum girl. System fights back. A small crowd gathered outside the court gate, not to mock her, but to support her, students, mothers, even strangers. A young girl from the back shouted, "You're my hero!" Amira smiled for the first time in days, but inside she knew. This wasn't over. Truth has a price. That same week, she was called. To the school office. Principal Karim sat stiffly behind his desk. You've caused a lot of noise, Amira. She stayed silent. He continued, Your results are strong. Your test is clean. But your name is now connected to controversy. She finally spoke. My name is connected to courage. The principal didn't like that. We've decided to cancel your scholarship. Her heart skipped. What? She whispered. You may finish this term. After that, you're on your own. Back to her roots at home, her mother said. We'll manage. I'll work more. You'll work too if needed. But don't leave school. Don't stop now. Amira nodded. She cleaned floors in the early morning, studied at night, and in the day she walked the school halls with quiet pride. Zayan had disappeared, suspended for 2 months, but she didn't care anymore. Her focus was now on the bigger goal. Her first real case one evening, Advocate Adil called her to court. "Want you to sit inside," he said. "Not as a guest, as a legal assistant." The case? A poor maid whose salary had been stolen by her employer. The woman was too scared to speak. She had no papers, no money, no voice. But Amira stood beside her, and when the judge asked questions, Amira answered. Clear, calm, strong. The court ruled in their favor, and as the woman cried and hugged her, she whispered, "You're not just a student, you're already a lawyer." The courtroom was full. Some came out of respect. Some came to mock. Some came just to see the girl from the slums. Amira stood near the back, holding a simple folder. No makeup, no fancy clothes, just quiet strength in her eyes. Today was not just another case. Today she was standing, not behind a lawyer, but beside one, the case that made headlines. It was a big case. A school janitor named Shabana was fired unfairly. No notice, no reason, and her final salary gone. She had worked there for 19 years. But no one stood up for her, until now. Adil had taken the case, but this time he said, "You will speak, Amira. You're ready." She looked shocked. "Me? But I'm just learning," he smiled. "You've already learned enough to speak truth. Now speak it in front of the world." The fight begins. The school's lawyer was tall, confident, expensive. He laughed when he saw Amira. "This girl is your assistant?" he smirked. "She looks like she still cleans floors." Adil stayed calm, but Amira felt the fire rise inside. Her. She remembered those words, heard them all her life. Now, she would answer them, with law, with truth. Amira takes the stand. The judge allowed Amira to speak. She walked to the center. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was clear. She told the story of Shabana, how she was fired with no legal process, no written warning, no final pay, only silence and shame. Then Amira showed the proof, a voice note of a staff member saying, "We don't want old workers like her." Photos of the cleaning logs signed by Shabana till her last day. A letter Shabana had written to the school. Ignored. Every line, every word was real. And the courtroom started to change. The turning point. The judge leaned forward. "You're very young," he said. "But you speak like someone who's seen pain." Amira nodded. "I speak for those who can't, and one day I will do it from that chair, Your Honor." She pointed to the lawyer's table. The audience went silent. Even the judge smiled. Zayan's father, sitting in the back, was furious. He had paid people to slow this case. He had tried to crush her name, but now people were clapping for her. Even reporters were writing notes. Victory announced. After a short break, the judge returned. "Find the school guilty of wrongful termination. They must pay all pending salary, plus emotional damages," Shabana cried. Adil shook Amira's hand, but Amira didn't smile yet. She looked back at Zayan's father and saw his stare, cold, angry, but this time, scared. The rise begins that evening. Amira was invited to a youth event. They gave her a medal for courage in the face of power. She was now in newspapers, on social media, even TV. Girls from poor areas messaged her. "You give us hope. You make us believe we can fight too. But all fame brings danger." Late at night, Adil called her. "I need to warn you," he said. "They're planning something big." The red words on the wall were still fresh. "You're just a girl with dirty skin. You'll never win." Amira stared at them. Her hands were cold, her heart heavy. This was more than hate. This was war. Books were torn, files missing. All the cases Adil had worked on, destroyed, and on the ground right near the door, Amira's photo half burnt. The collapse Adil entered moments later. He looked around in silence, then sat on the floor and held his head. This is too much," he whispered. Amira didn't speak. She picked up a broken chair and stood it upright. "We fix it," she said quietly. "We keep going." But Adil didn't move. He looked up at her with tired eyes. "They've frozen our accounts, Amira. They've shut down the office license. They want me out, and they want you buried." The darkness grows. The next week was the worst. No office, no clients, no income. Adil disappeared for 2 days. No calls, no messages. At school, Amira was ignored. Some students who once praised her now looked away. Some said, "She's in trouble now. Her story's over." Even her teacher avoided eye contact. At home, the roof leaked. Her mother got sick with fever. The medicine was too expensive. One night, Amira sat alone on the stairs outside. She looked up at the stars. "Maybe they were right," she whispered. "Maybe girls like me aren't made to rise." She didn't cry. Her tears had run out. Voice in the dark at midnight, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Come to the old library, alone, tomorrow, 4 p.m. If you want to fight back, we have something you need." Amira stared at the message. Was it a trap, or was it the chance she had been waiting for? The library meeting the next day, she entered the broken-down old library. Dust everywhere. Silence in the air. Then she saw them. 3 people. 2 women, 1 man. One of them stepped forward. "We know who you are," she said. "We've been watching." Amira frowned. "Who are you?" The man smiled. "We're lawyers, but not the rich kind. We fight from the shadows, for people like you." They handed her a brown file. Inside was something powerful. Proof of corruption, bank slips, fake receipts. Zayan's father had been bribing people to shut her down. The truth in her hands, Amira's hands shook as she flipped through the pages. This is what we need," she whispered. The woman nodded. "You can win, but not quietly. You'll have to speak where everyone can hear." Amira looked up, her eyes filled with fire again. "I will." The public call that night, Amira posted a short video. Simple words, clear message. "They tried to break me. They called me dirty. They burned our files. But truth doesn't burn. I'm going to court again. This time, not to defend, but to expose. Join me." Within hours, it went viral. People shared it, liked it, supported her, and some feared her. The courtroom doors opened. The sound of heels echoed across the hall. Every head turned. Phones went up. Reporters whispered. The same people who once mocked her now watched in silence, because the girl they once called nothing walked into court today wearing a lawyer's robe. The moment the world saw her, Amira didn't smile. She didn't wave. She simply walked straight, with pride in her spine and truth in her hands. Behind her stood Adil, back by her side. On one side stood her mother, wearing her best clothes. On the other, the 3 secret lawyers who believed in her and all around. The people. Some rich, some poor, all waiting to see. Could she really win? The case that shook the city today was different. This wasn't about one maid, or a school expulsion, or a fake police report. This case was about exposing a powerful man, Zayan's father, for bribery, forged documents, abuse of influence, and destruction of justice. Amira was leading the charge. Yes, she was still a student. But she had been given special permission by the Bar Council to present evidence under the mentorship of Adil.